Hi everyone, it's Lisa from A Simple Season. You know, lately I've really been thinking a lot about the millions of people over in Europe who are bracing themselves for a huge spike in their energy bill in these coming months. And it seems that a lot of the situation has been focused on the UK, but it's clearly we're seeing spikes all across Europe and also in North America as well. I know I'm certainly feeling that pinch at the gas pump and with my heating oil this winter as well. Also, the energy situation is tied to inflation of consumer goods of all kinds because the higher energy costs, the higher output costs are for all other kinds of consumer goods. So that means more of our money is going to be funneled into the basics, just food, fuel, and housing. And everything is connected. Everything that's happening seems to have a link somewhere else. And I think that if you know where to look, can connect a few dots and realize what the end game is, none of this should really come as a surprise. But in the meantime, we're having to deal with surging energy costs, higher bills, all the rest of it. So today in this video, I'm hoping that I'll be able to give you a few tips to hopefully keep you a little warmer this winter. A great thing to get is hot water bottles. Have 2 or 3 of them for each person in your household. Just fill them up with hot water from the tap, and you can put one at your feet in your bed and cuddle up with the other one, or if you're watching TV, put on a throw blanket, put a hot water bottle under that, and you will stay nice and cozy. Last winter, the hot water bottles really were a difference maker in keeping us nice and cozy warm. The next thing is cover your floors, put down carpets, throw mats, cardboard if you're really strapped, and it just helps keep your feet a little bit warmer and not touching the cold floor. Next, when you're having a bath or a shower, put the stopper in the tub and let the tub fill up with the hot water. After you're done, just get out, don't let the water out, and just let the heat from the water that you've used heat up the area in and around the bathroom. And that will help increase the humidity in the air and drive the temperature of the room up a little bit more too. When choosing clothing, try to avoid cotton. Cotton is a great choice in the summertime when you're trying to stay cool because it absorbs moisture. However, it is a terrible choice for the winter time for exactly that same reason. It absorbs moisture and it won't keep you as warm as other fabrics. Next, you want to keep your arms warm. So if you have a long pair of socks like this, and they're fuzzy on the inside like these ones, and you have, say they're worn out at the heel and they can't be repaired, what you can do is you can just cut them at the heel and then you can turn them into a really nice warmer for your arms. And this comes in really, really handy if you have a house coat that has really wide sleeves that creates drafts. So this is a really nice way to keep your arms warm and use something that you already have. And keep your neck warm. There's certain parts of your body that will raise your body temperature if they're kept warm, and your neck is one of them. So you can just take a thin scarf, wrap it around your neck a couple of times, and if you want to amp it up, you can even take like a hand warmer, wrap it up in the scarf, put the hand warmer at the back of your neck wrapped up in the scarf, and that will help keep your neck area nice and cozy. Next, use a thermos and fill it with boiling water early in the day. That way you can make hot tea, hot cocoa, or a cup of Lipton soup throughout the day rather than turning your stove on multiple times. Next, shut off the vents and close the doors to the rooms that you're not in. That way, any heat that you are using can be concentrated to the rooms that you're actually occupying rather than the ones that you're not in. Also use hand warmers. Put them in your pockets. You can put them at the foot of your bed. You can put them in a sleeping bag, in your shoes. They're really, really functional. And this one might seem a little bit unconventional, but I have heard stories of where people have hard boiled a couple of eggs and put them in their pocket of their kids' coats. And then that way their kids have warm hands as they walk to school, and then when they get to school, they can eat their hard-boiled eggs for breakfast. The other thing you might want to consider getting is some fleece bed sheets. And these are ones that I just picked up off of Amazon. But you can see the texture. It's really nice and fluffy and warm. And getting into bed with these on the bed are so cozy and comfortable. And this is something that I wouldn't necessarily consider an inexpensive option, but we did use one of these last year and it really helped us cut down the usage on our oil furnace without raising our electricity bill too much at all. So this one runs on 1,000 watts. Most space heaters run on 1,500. And we usually put it at, that's 1,000 watts on full, and we usually put it at about halfway or a little bit less. So we run it at about 500 watts and we just use it to heat up the room that we're in. And we usually have this in our kitchen, which is, if I had to guess, it's about, I would say 10 by 20 in size, and it heated up that room really, really nicely. So, and the other thing is if you are going to invest in a space heater, and get one that is a radiant heater. Don't get one that has a fan on it, because that actually is quite inefficient and you'll get a lot more bang for your buck if you choose a radiant style heater. Now, another thing you can do is you can create a little DIY heater with tea lights and a flower pot. Now, this can be an option if you have no electricity, you have no propane or anything like that. So this is something that can work to help heat up a smaller room in your house. Now, obviously, you want to be very, very careful doing this type of thing for heating. So what I have here is this is just an old cookie sheet that I've flipped upside down. And the reason I flipped it upside down is you actually want that air space underneath it, because this can actually get quite hot. So you can flip it upside down, put it on another cookie sheet just to get a bit more heat protection if you like as well. And then here, it's important that I have a little bit of space around the tea lights as well. You don't want them touching end to end if at all possible, just because it's less of a fire hazard if they are not touching. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to light them. So now I have all of my tea lights lit, and this is a 10-inch terracotta pot. Now, if I had a 12-inch terracotta pot, I could probably add a couple of more candles, but I have 9 here. So now I've just got a couple of canning rings, and I'm gonna put those around the perimeter, because what this is going to do is create an air space underneath the flower pot, which is what we want. And so I'm going to put my pot on the top, and that's it. Our little heater is done. Now I have this set up on a tabletop here just so that I could show you how I did it. But if I were to actually use this at home, which I actually did a few times last winter, I would set it up on the floor just to take advantage of the upward motion of the heat and trap more of that heat. So something like this size, 9 candles and a 10-inch pot, will heat up a bathroom nicely, which is, you know, a smaller room in your house. Now, I tried setting up 2 of these to heat up my kitchen, and what I noticed was that having 2 of these set up, the smell of the paraffin was awful. So I just did the 1 pot and just kind of sat by the heater and, you know, took advantage of the warmth that way. The other thing I want to point out with these is when you're choosing a terracotta pot, choose one that's new, that hasn't been used before, because if you have one that's been used before, like it's been in your garden or something, it might have moisture in it from the plants and whatever that you had in it before. And if you put high heat under it, it can potentially explode. So just choose a new pot that hasn't had any water or moisture or dirt or anything like that in it, and you'll be just fine. And I really do like this in a pinch. I think it works really, really well, and it just gives a little bit of ambient light too. So here I've had this going for about 20 minutes, and I set it up just in a corner of my kitchen. And if I cannot put my hand over the top. too hot. So that is just set up in a place. You want to make sure that, you know, kids or pets can't knock it over. But as I said, in a pinch, this will work. Well, thanks so much for joining in with me today. I sure do appreciate it. And hopefully you found some tips that will help you keep a little bit toastier this winter. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you next time.